What's up, everybody? This is Phil Rogacki.
And I'm Jared Abergina.
You're listening to Two Tree Guys Podcast. What's up, everybody? Phil Rogacki here with another episode of Two Tree Guys in the studio, joined by my co-host and my partner, Jared the Wizard of Trees, Abergina.
Hey guys, what's up?
I know he knows something stupid's coming every single time.
I don't know why I'm here. I just kind of.
What's up, everybody? Man, glad everybody's joining us today. We're going to be having a full-length episode today with a friend of ours that came to visit us. But before we get started here, we got a fee for the show, guys, and that fee is share it. Okay, nobody's sending us money. We ain't getting rich. It's freaking 6:30 at night on a freaking Thursday, and we're eating some sushi, and we're getting on, going to drink some beers, and hear Jessica's story here. So all we ask is that you guys share it. If you got something out of it, you learned something, share it. And for all you guys that are tuning in for the first time, we have different episodes on this show. We have our full length in our studio to where we have industry badasses coming in and sitting down and talking to us and talking about things in the tree care industry. And then we have our What's Your Story, where we travel around to different trade shows and everybody has an opportunity to tell their story. Another episode that's coming here soon is we're going to have our gear talk, where we're going to bring some other industry experts in and talk about what's out in the industry, different gear, what's working, what's not working, what do we like, what do we dislike. And then we're going to be having our safety flash talks, talking about incidents that happen in our industry, real life incidents, and how can we mitigate this and how can we fix this in the future. So a bunch of awesome episodes coming, so stay tuned for all those for that. Any other episodes we got?
No, that's it. You covered it.
Oh, man. Okay, well, with us today in the studio is Jessica Henderson.
Nailed
I almost
it.
said Hernandez. I don't know where I got Hernandez because you don't look like a Hernandez. But
Nah.
I was going to say Hernandez.
Son of Hender, that's more
man.
my vibe.
Oh, man. Well, welcome. I'm going to open a beer and cheers
Sweet.
to you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to
cheers to my water. Get in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're on the sushi.
Sorry.
Oh, man.
But Jessica came in today, and we got to sit down and kind of discuss a few things with her and how she could be a part of the academy. How can she help out? And we got some cool things coming down the way here. Some short trainings you're going to do online on the ATO Academy Trained Online, and then being a part of some of these classes here.
Well, to be fair, she hasn't committed yet. I mean, we had one discussion.
Yeah.
We got somebody coming in to do this. She's like, I didn't say yes.
She's here. She's shaking her
I haven't
head.
left yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting her drunk, so
Yeah.
we're going to get
Beer
her drunk.
podcast. Yeah, she's in.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much more committed you can get
Yeah,
if she's
why I
sitting
love
in the
this
same
industry.
room with
Yeah,
us.
I guess sushi and hen house, we took you to the top. I mean, you know, that's,
Yeah, we spared
that's
no
high class.
expense. We spared no expense.
Thank you. It's been great.
So welcome.
Thank you.
So this is your second podcast,
Yeah.
Climbing Arborist. You did it on your laptop, but this is
Yeah.
your first time in a studio.
Yeah. First time in a
What do
studio.
you think?
It's
You-
very dark, but it's cool.
It's dark?
Yeah.
Like
Not-
dark in
not
the
like-
sense of
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
not-
not dark.
We're not goth.
No.
She's like, you guys are very dark.
Yeah.
She's like,
Dark souls.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Super
was it
dark.
called again? EMC? No.
ASMR.
ISMR. Oh, I was way
Hey.
off.
ASMR.
hey.
I don't know what it stands for.
You're doing great. This is what we're gonna do on the podcast one time. You know, there's somebody.
We just lost 30,000 followers. With that shit right there, we're done.
Yeah, right. You know, someone's driving
Yeah.
their truck right now,
Yeah.
like, oh man, I've been hoping they would do this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
And you just gained like 50,000 more, so
Yeah.
I think you're good.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
That's true.
man. So Jessica, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you came to sit, down with us two
Yeah.
tree guys here. But man, we want to hear your story. How did it begin? From the time you were born to where
Yeah.
you are now, and what the future holds.
Born in the humble hospital in Northwest Portland,
Northwest Portland.
but grew up on the south side of the city, outside in the suburbs.
Okay.
But that's not really real. Like, there's a lot of life that.
Suburbs.
Yeah. And but honestly, my life with trees started to happen before I knew it was happening, and then I started getting into as soon as I started working around trees and with trees, I realized like I'm obsessed and I can't stop. My hobbies are tree related. My profession's tree related.
Me too.
My,
I started smoking at a young age. I mean, I was like, it was instantly ingrained in my life.
Yeah.
You will be in a tree.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Wait, what?
Sorry.
Oh man.
My home
Not
decor
kidding.
is related to trees. I have a huge cone collection, so
Yeah.
I
Do
actively
you have
decorate.
a favorite cone?
I have 2 favorites, and I knew I was
I'm
hoping you would
excited to hear
ask.
this. Yeah.
Do you have a picture of a cone?
I don't because the pictures don't do them justice, but I can describe
Is it
them.
on your Instagram?
No, but I haven't Instagrammed them
It's on
because
Twitter.
I've moved, so I haven't like set them up how they want to how I want them to look
Wait,
yet.
does other people have cone collections? Is this a thing?
100%, yeah. Yeah.
If anybody's listening to this, comment
Okay, I
if you have a
gotta hear
cone
it.
collection. But
I gotta hear it.
Oh,
Okay.
my 2 favorite cones I have right now. One is a coulter pine.
Yep.
Huge.
Uh-huh.
And I got it from a park in Portland, and there's only like 3 of them that are planted in that park. Maybe there's only 2, and there's 1 heritage tree in Portland. So I honestly was gonna go talk to the homeowner and be like, "Can I have some of your cones? Like, I need
Yeah.
this cone.
Yeah.
Like, they're very cool.
giant.
Yeah, they're huge." And then my second favorite is from a bonsai larch, and it's like the size of my pinky nail. And the person that owns that tree, it's just cool. It's like 80 years old. She's had it at, like, it's traveled around to like tons of different places with her. And I mean, larch is cool. I'm a huge fan of the deciduous conifers. I think they're really cool. So
Yeah.
Man.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So go back to where you were
yeah.
getting in the industry.
Yeah, so I started out helping out with a recreational tree climbing company, and wanted to just, after I was like, this is cool. They took me up
But how'd you get into that? You just looked up on like Craigslist or something?
So one of my favorite things about this industry is when you call people and you tell them you're interested in things, generally they're going to reciprocate. So I actually heard a lecture by Dr. Meg Lauman, and she does a lot of really cool canopy research. And a couple months earlier to that, I had read the book Wild Trees, and I was like, this is cool. I had like graduated college. I was like looking for something to do. I was doing outdoor education. I like hated it. It was what I wanted to do, but I didn't
Wait,
want to.
outdoor education.
Yeah. So like,
Like this, we just talked 2 hours about outdoors.
yeah. I mean, for like youth.
Got it.
And like the
Got
job I was doing wasn't fulfilling me.
Got it.
So listened to this lecture, had read this book, and I was like, people climb trees. This is amazing. Family friend of ours owned this recreational tree climbing company, and also a production company. And I called him. I hadn't seen him in like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. And I was like, hey, I heard you like teach people how to climb. He's like, well, it's more of like an experience. And so I went up to Mount Hood, and they took me 180 feet in a Doug fir. And I was like over the river. There were huge moss mats all over the tree. And I was like, I don't know how I can do this more often, but I need to do this. Yeah. And they were setting up for like a climb they had the next day. But
Yeah.
so from that moment, I was hooked. I was like, this is really cool.
What'd you feel like when you were up there?
Scared, like a little bit.
Yeah. What was going through your head?
So much. It was very calm and quiet. Even though the river was like roaring and it was like echoing, in a way I'd never experienced. It felt, like you're like touching the tree. You could like feel it move, but this is like a huge Doug fir. Obviously we were 180 feet in it, and there's more tree to go.
Yeah.
So I felt like excited. I felt interested. I felt scared. And I felt like I wanted to do it again. So brief little stint in the canopy, came down, helped him out with that for a little bit. A couple months later, hit him up to offer to babysit for tree climbing hours. And he's like, oh, let me check in with the wife. He called me a few weeks later, asked if I wanted to work for him. It's like, can you run a chainsaw? I was like, no. He's like, can you identify trees? I was like, I have a degree in biology, so I'm sure I could learn how to. Asked me all these questions. It was like definitely an interview. And I was like, no, I can't do any of these things. Worked with them for a day. I was like, this is awesome. I need to do this.
What'd they have you do on the first day?
Drag
First
brush.
day you came.
Drag a lot of brush.
Yeah, they just said, grab that, pull it over there.
Yeah. I just walked it over the chipper. I was like sweating. It was January in Portland, so it was like dumping rain. It was cold. I like clearly was not in shape to be doing tree work. Got home that night. It was like 5 o'clock, passed out on the couch, and I was like, my body felt good. My brain felt good. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Started working for him like the next week, I think. I think it was like a Thursday. I think Monday.
And you were just babysitting at the time?
At that time, I was nannying for another family.
Okay. Did you have to go to them and be like, listen, I'm going to get in the trees now?
Yeah.
Were they like, what? What are you doing?
No, they were actually really cool. And they were like honestly pumped. The mom of the family is like super badass and just like they thought it was really cool, and it was kind of a perfect time. They didn't really need a nanny anymore, but I call it my soccer mom phase because I was like nannying in the morning, and then I'd go to like a workout class and like go to happy hour after it with my friends. And I was like 22 at the time, so it was like great life.
Yeah, soccer mom life.
Yeah,
I like that.
And they weren't my kids, so I just like dropped them off and I was done with them. So, but yeah, the family that I nannied for was super. They were like really stoked for me. But the first few weeks I did tree work. I nannied in the morning, then I went and did tree work, and that honestly sucked. People that are full-time parents and like do tree work, especially when I was new, that was like a lot to handle.
Right.
And then like 1 or 2 nights I had to go pick them up after work, and I was like exhausted, and you're like trying to make them dinner, and I'm like, you're not even my kid, and like you're cool, but I'm tired.
Right. Yeah. So how did the crew take it during that time? You're like, these guys are out there working, and they're like, oh, this girl's showing up at noon. I'm like, why is she even here? It's already noon.
Yeah.
But was it received well? No.
I think so. Yeah. I would hope so. I mean, still friends with them. Actually, I just texted the guy that I worked with the other day. He owns a nursery now, or he's starting a nursery. So I was asking him some tree questions. So we haven't worked together in a couple years, so we still have a relationship. So I don't know. I think that's good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so anyway, started working in tree work and freaking love it. It's the best. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so working from there, when did you start climbing?
On the job was probably like 6 months in, but I had already done like the recreational tree climbing a little bit before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was like probably 6 months in. The company I worked for like was all climbers, no lifts or buckets or anything.
Yeah.
And just by virtue of the work we did, like it was very climbing heavy in the trees in Portland. And
so did you have to ask for them to start teaching you, or were they like, all right, hey, in a couple months we're going to start working with you on climbing?
I think it was a little bit of both. They knew I was interested. I mean, I was like setting lines for people, like time bakers, like helping set up their gear as part of my starting. And then I feel like it was like 6 months in, I started 6 months.
They certified arborists?
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Good.
What's the company's name?
Oregon Tree Care.
Oregon
Shout
Tree?
out.
At least, good. What's up, Oregon Tree
Yeah.
Care?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So yeah, they honestly, it was really cool as a small crew. So I got to do everything there. And I really liked that.
Yeah.
And I feel really lucky because of the people I worked with on like in the company, but we also had a handful of contract climbers that would come through that people I just like really respect and like this craft, and I think are really good tree climbers and tree workers, but also just like phenomenal arborists and people I think that think about trees in ways that I like to think about them. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
how does somebody, how you got in this industry, what would you suggest some ideas of them, kind of breaking down that door, getting into this industry, or at least seeing where do they go to learn about it, want to climb? I mean, you started picking up the phone.
Yeah.
What else? What are some other ideas they can do?
Is this where I plug your guys' website or your classes?
No, we didn't prep you for that.
Yeah.
Guys, we did not prep her for that at all. She just,
Just cut. Just wrap it up.
Yeah.
That's the end of the show.
I think there's a lot of great resources online.
Yeah.
I think people, like, if you're interested, like I said, just start calling people. People in this industry are really receptive.
Yeah.
And anyone I've met, like, I call them, like, oh, I can't help you, but this person can. And people are really, really friendly. I think it may take some people, like, I feel lucky the people I fell into tree work with, I think they do good tree work. So, sometimes people have to, like, filter through people that don't do good tree work or are honestly just, like, shit people. But there's a lot of tree care companies. Like, I think there's a lot of ways to get experience. I think there are, like, some formal schooling options, right? Like the Clackamas Community College in Portland has like a whole like associates in arboriculture program. There's another school, I think it's in Wisconsin or Michigan, that you can do an associates.
Good.
I like from a residential commercial standpoint, I think most people are on the job training, right? Which I think is a lot of value to it. But the internet's like an amazing place. I think that's probably changed the industry a lot more ways than people really think about.
So with somebody that's looking to get in the industry or wants to go work for a tree company, what kind of things do they look for when they're researching online and you know nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, because just as many probably good companies there's some really bad companies out there. Yeah. How do they identify of like, this is the company I need to go work for?
I think looking for certified arborists are really important. There's a lot of people that are certified arborists that also do bad work, but I think that's just like a layer. I think people like tree companies' involvement in the tree community. That was something I liked about my last company is, involved with comps, a lot of volunteer events, things like that. That was very much outside of just production tree work, which I valued. So are they sponsoring events? Are they showing up to the community events that are like not making money on a daily basis, either cutting trees down or pruning them, right? And then obviously they're licensed, bonded, insured. I guess that's not an obvious. Some people don't even I didn't know that was a thing, right? I think this is also an industry where you like really quickly learn how people like care about themselves and the work they do, and sometimes that's obvious in like their gear or like how they present themselves. I definitely have would go up to bids, and so like a homeowner would be like, yeah, the last guy that was here was so stoned he could like barely walk through the yard, and you're like, okay, maybe I don't know if that's someone I'd like want to work with on a daily basis, right? Like, or you hear about these things and like, yeah, I showed up and it's like, I don't know, his tire fell off in the front driveway. And you're like, okay, maybe it was a bad day, but also like, does he just not maintain his equipment? Like, is that what you're gonna get? So I think just like trusting your intuition. And I think you can like really quickly. Everyone I've met in this industry wears their feelings on their sleeves. So I think you can really quickly feel out people in this industry. Even as a new person, you can really just see how people represent themselves in the work they do. But certified arborists, professional organizations, so like TCIA, ISA, if they're affiliated, and their community involvement, I think are the most important things to look for.
Absolutely. Yep. So when you started climbing and you started actually being a production climber, right? And now tell us about that experience. I mean, getting up there the first time with the chainsaw is a little bit different than just a rec climb.
Yeah.
Right?
100% different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you make some mistakes?
So I actually
Did you smash anything?
I didn't smash anything. But the first tree I ever climbed on a production site, I went back to the property like my last like 3 weeks of doing production work. And it was pretty funny. I got up in the tree and it was this like huge mansion, like up on top of a lake, gorgeous views, like everything was perfect. We were honestly just cleaning off some suckers for like a Vista prune. Yeah. And I start getting I think I was just trying to climb, and the homeowner walks out and she screams and she goes, "Oh my God, you're a female." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Our plumber's a woman too, and I love it." And she's like beyond herself that there's like a female tradesperson on her at her house. And she's like screaming, and she's like, this woman's very successful. She works in tech, I think, and she's clearly like established herself in her industry. And she's like talking at me and just like pumped. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. Start climbing the tree a little bit higher. I'm feeling a little nervous. I'm like, okay.
And she's watching the whole time?
Yeah, she's watching the whole time. I'm like cleaning off these suckers.
You got this, girl. Yeah. You got this.
I take my hands out and I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh no, she's here. Everything went fine. Didn't smash anything. But it was cool. I worked for her several times, and the next year I went back, I was like a crew lead. The year after that, I was kind of working as like a general manager at that point, production.
So she got to see you grow up, in this.
Yeah. So, fortunately I didn't smash anything. It was very, like 1 inch or smaller cut. So it was very, simple. But I remember the first moment the handsaw was in my hand, I was like, I'm going to drop it. This is it. Like, if I dropped it, it was going down a cliff into the lake. So it wasn't, there wasn't an easy recoverable situation.
You have a picture of that tree?
100%.
Yeah, I got to see that later, because that sounds like an awesome tree.
It's awesome.
So, with that reaction she gave you, I mean, that's the reaction to a lot of people in the industry. Like, oh shit, you got a girl on your crew? Yeah. Oh, she's leading? Yeah. Like, and I know that's something you're really passionate about, of being able to get more females into this industry and stuff like that, because that's what we were just talking about a minute ago. So what are some of kind of your thoughts, and why are you passionate about that?
I'm passionate about it because women are amazing. Honestly, like every woman I've met in this industry are like some of the most badass people I've met. They're really good at their craft. They care. They've got like awesome people skills. Just
who are a couple of people that come to mind?
Oh, I feel like I'm in like fangirl right now.
Yeah.
So like Kaylee Alcorn, I think she's really cool. Okay, I feel like I'm so happy. my front shout out to Sweaty Betty, Elena Ladderbach in Portland.
Sweaty Betty?
Yeah, she's a contract climber in Portland.
Sweaty Betty.
Yeah, Sweaty Betty's awesome.
Oh man.
She's right as I was kind of transitioning out. Yeah,
Somebody
Elena's
messenger,
awesome.
get her
Yeah,
on
someone
here.
tag.
Somebody get
What's
her
her
on here.
Instagram thing?
It's Sweaty Betty.
Sweaty
I'm pretty
Betty.
Sure, yeah.
Someone
God.
tag Sweaty Betty.
I'm pretty sure that's
Let's get her on here. A messenger if somebody could. That'd be awesome. Sweaty Betty.
Yeah, Elena's really cool. I started working with Nisa. She just won the like PNW comp circuit up there. I didn't really get to work with her a lot, but the few times we did, I was like, this is cool. I met Krista Stratting at the Women's Tree Climbing Workshop I did a few years ago. Ran into her at Treetopia, and I told her, I was like, this is like an embarrassing fangirl moment right now. I show up to this workshop, and they introduce her, and I was like, I feel like I know her. I'm not sure why. I was like, couldn't really think about it. And I get back to our shop, and we had a beer fridge. And at the time, like Tree Stuff had the like little player cards for, and so we had one of Krista on our beer fridge.
Oh, yeah.
And I told her that at Treetopia. I was like, yeah, we had it on the fridge. I was like, I think I know her. And I get back, and like, there's her face on our beer fridge at the shop.
Great.
So,
one of my dumb friends, Ryan Torsicola, has one of those.
Oh, really?
That dumb. What an idiot. I know.
Is it on your fridge?
No. No, he keeps it in his wallet. So like, he's like, oh, you never met me? Look, I'm Ryan.
That's awesome. But
every podcast we just need to mention something about.
I know, it's so bad.
I think you guys need to bring the playing card in and like stick it in the background.
Yeah, we should.
So
We
like,
should.
move it around so people can figure out where it is.
I'm gonna get the Ryan
that'd be
Torticola
good.
shirt
Yeah.
for that. So which girl in our industry do you feel like really inspired you? Like somebody that you're like, that's the person I wanna follow.
I don't think it was just one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it was a lot. When I went to the Women's Tree Climbing Workshop, that was like very pivotal in my tree career, to be honest. The leadership team there and all the instructors, each person like brought something different, like totally different personalities. Like
Inspiring.
Yeah, it was really inspiring. It was. I worked with a few women at Oregon Tree Care. None of them for that long, unfortunately. But I like just being there was really cool, and like only hearing women's voices. It's usually like me and like a whole bunch of dudes, right?
Yeah.
Totally awesome. Like love the people in this field that have like been part of my career. But you like hear like stand clear, all clear, and it's only women. That's cool. Like most people don't get that. So, I don't think I just have one person that inspired me. I feel like every person I met has offered something different. So
that's good. Now let's talk about these women workshops that you go to.
Yeah.
And hearing all clear, all girls are there teaching and stuff. What kind of things do you want to participate in or help or expand out here in California and in the Santa Rosa area?
I'm interested in like two parts. One, like the technical training part. It's just fun to go brush up on your skills and things that when you're especially like, doing a lot of on the job training, it's easy to like brush past them or not like pause and think about why you're doing it. I think they did like 2 hours on rope construction. Something we never really informally talked about in my training.
Right.
Or like it was broken up over like, okay, now we have a situation to discuss like a rigging line and why it's constructed this way. But like just having that like formal time to like pause and like actually talk about it, I think was helpful. So I'm interested in like the technical skill development. Even people I've met that are, really far into their career and you show up to these events and they're still learning. Like that inspires me to keep getting better at what I'm doing. Right. Even people I would consider like masters are still like improving. Right.
Absolutely.
And then I'm also just interested in the camaraderie. I think, like I said, all the women I've met in this industry are badass. And I feel like that's honestly an understatement.
It is. Now, do you think, what part are girls better at than guys in the field doing this work?
I feel like I kind of hate that because I mean,
because there is certain things where they just see it different or do this a little bit different that they do it better.
I think that when I watch my colleagues that are women climb, I think they're a lot more strategic with how they work. mostly to be honest, because most of the women I know that do tree work aren't like 6'5" and like 300 pounds. They're not like these big dudes with shoulder caps or hulky.
Spot on.
Yeah, so they I think are more efficient climbers generally.
Yeah.
But I've also worked with men that are like compact. They're like 5'2" and like 110 soaking wet, and they're probably climbing a little more similarly to the women that I think of in this industry. I think that I feel like that's hard because there's when I think about specific people.
But you're right. I mean, they can't, sling their muscle and their weight around to do some of this work. So you have to think of it different. You have to do it a little bit different. And no, you're absolutely right.
Smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And I also think if you think about like the physiological differences of men, men tend to have like stronger arms, right? Women are usually a little stronger in the core and the legs. Like when you watch people move in those ways, you're like, oh, this like makes sense. Clearly you're like climbing to how your body works.
Yeah.
And I remember there are times that I would like try to climb like a 6'5" dude that was like 300 pounds. I'm like, I can't do this. My shoulder literally is not strong enough, or like my hand physically cannot reach around that branch, or I can't. Carabiners was one of those things. I had to like train my hand how to open a carabiner. And then I got the little, what's it, the Ultra, but the mini?
Yep.
That's like, that's on my lanyard, and it's like the best carabiner. It actually fits in my hand.
Yeah.
Or finding a handsaw that actually had like a smaller handle so I could actually hold on to
I never
it.
thought about that.
I
got a friend that makes custom handles if you're interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Are they cool?
Yeah, no, they are cool. Actually, she's on here right now, Manic Woodshop.
Oh, cool.
If you follow her, she's doing these custom ones with it's wood and resin.
Oh,
and
cool.
So if you,
maybe I'll have to splurge. I just got the
get your logo and stuff in it.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want in there. You have anything lasered or whatnot. It's pretty cool looking.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think she's put them out yet, but I've seen some of the in progress pics.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to your question, I think it's going to be person to person, but I think that women tend to climb a little bit more to their body type. And I think men can kind of get away with it a little more. But I know so when I was a lead climber for a very brief stint in my company, I fucking hated it. It was like not my jam at all.
Why?
I just realized I didn't have the attitude or the personality for it. I would rather climb 180 feet in a tree, sit there, hang out, enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Do I want to blow a top out of a fir? No. Do I want to run the rope on the ground for the person blowing the top out? Absolutely.
Now, why is that? Why do you like doing that more?
Because I think it's also a skill, right? Like when I sucked at rigging, I saw you're rocking your coworker. And you're like, God, that sucks. Like, how do I get better
Sucks
at this?
for him.
Yeah, it sucks for him.
Ooh, I got to burn. Ooh.
Yeah, and right.
The guy just got knocked out up there.
Yeah, and they're like, it's fine, as they're puckered and pissed.
Hey, that's what we live for, though. I mean, those rides are the ones that you go down in history. You're like, I win today. I won. I beat death.
Yeah. Your legs a little shaky. Take a moment, say a few curse words in your head and move on. Yeah. But I realized that there are other things that I like the timing, just being good at that. I feel like a lot of people overlook a lot of the ground components of tree work, and they're just like, I want to climb. Right? Climbing's the sexy part of tree work. No one wants to rake. That's the paperwork of our industry. No one wants to move logs around. Or not no one. I think very few people do. And I realized that how important those skills were. And I don't know, I was just having a fun time. You rig something really good and you're like, yeah, I did that. I know you made the cut, but I did it. You land it perfectly. And
then the only reason your two spikes are in the wood was because of me.
Yeah, you're welcome. But I also think it was just kind of my personality. I really like to kind of juggle different things, multiple things. So I could be talking to the homeowner, I could be training someone, I could be working with the climber, and then also
focusing on so many different things down there, controlling everything.
Yeah.
That's such a huge part of our industry is being versatile. I mean, what you just said right there, being able to do that, speak with the client, work the ropes on the ground, be a grounds person, be a salesperson at times, be a crew leader at times, be able to physically do the pruning, understand the pruning. I mean, that's what every owner or boss or foreman look for in this industry, is somebody that's versatile,
Yeah. I was trying to make myself hard to kill. Yeah. Honestly.
But, somebody said on here that, the best groundsmen make the best climbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think I really started appreciating that till I was climbing more. And I just I think, like I said, I didn't have the attitude for it. There were things that I think I was scared a lot. I had anxiety that I think was overriding me. And it was just I think the reasons I didn't like it and didn't want to progress are like totally personal.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I wasn't capable. It wasn't like if I spent time doing it, I couldn't figure it out. It was just, I don't think I had the attitude for it, which is fine because I can
So
rock
what kind
climb.
of attitude do you need? What kind of attitude is it?
Well, you comp climb too, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why'd you get into doing that?
They're super fun. Literally, like one of the best parts of the community. And like I said earlier, I think looking for companies that are involved outside of production tree work are really important. The first comp I volunteered at was in Portland, and I was helping do gear inspect. They were doing gear inspection, and I was helping set some stuff up. And someone showed up, and he had like a double locking snap, and they like DQ'd it right away. And he's like, "Oh no, like I just bought it." He's like, "You can't use it in the comp, like right? It needs to be triple action." And he's like, "Oh man, my company's like sponsoring me." And immediately, like, 3 other people that were checking in their gear and people that were checking in gear, like, "Oh yo, I got a carabiner you can borrow. Like don't worry, you can borrow this, this, and this." And people are like sharing gear. At the time, I had no concept of what that meant. Right?
Yeah.
It was just like, "Oh, that's really freaking cool." Next day, everyone's competing. Like comps over, people are drinking beer, hanging out. Like
it's different than any other competition.
Yes.
Everybody's helping everybody to win.
everyone's
Well,
helping.
it never
everyone.
used to be this way. I've been competing for 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
well, that was 20 years ago, but we are watching my dad, grow up. My dad was a competition climber as well, but
Yeah.
this never used to be like that. I mean, it was very quiet. Nobody shared.
Wow.
It was down and dirty. Like these guys were there to win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't until towards the end of my dad's career when I came in at 15 is when things started to change a little bit and people were, getting along.
And you competed against your dad.
I did for a long time.
Did your dad ever beat you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever let him win?
Well, it got to the point where it was like, I started at 15, so it was pretty young,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't win for a while. And then once I won my first one, I'm like, okay, I think I figured this out. And then he would win, and then I would win, and whatever. And then all of a sudden, it was like I would win, and I'm like, there's no coming back now, Dad.
Yeah.
I got this figured out.
Yeah.
I got this.
Would you guys
Dad.
train together?
Oh yeah. Oh, my dad. Shit. I mean, my dad's an overtrainer, so
Yeah.
it made me. I was just like, I'm like, damn, again, Dad. And then at the park
Yeah.
after work,
Yeah.
we worked out in the morning, hit the gym. We worked all day in the trees, and then
Oh, shit, I didn't know
at
this.
night we would go, and it was like this homeless camp, and it was dark outside, and we'd drag all the gear down there, and I'm like, Dad, you're killing me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is stupid. We're gonna get killed and mugged down
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
it just taught me to be just the overtrainer, just be super focused on
Yeah.
your goals. So anyway,
That's cool.
not my podcast.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I think once again, going back to the community and like the camaraderie and how these are clearly professionals.
Yeah.
And they're spending time outside of work, like working on their skills. And that's like really drew me in. And I was just amazed, I got into like 8 months later, I think I was at actually working in tree work after this comp. And I remember learning like a carabiner was like $50. And you're like, wait, so someone just like loaned you a piece of gear that's like $50,
Yeah, that's a real deal.
You're like, that's kind of a lot. And like this guy was like pumped on it. And I just thought that was cool, right? And like, you get like a lot of the gear junkies at the comps and like, yeah, I've got a 90 carabiner. And you're like, okay, cool. But the person, they like jingle everywhere they go. But yeah, I was really drawn to that. The group of women that I climbed with at the comps, there was like 4 of us mainly, Sweaty Betty.
Sweaty
and,
Betty.
I messaged her, by the way. I told her
Okay,
to jump
nice.
on Teacher You Guys. We'll see if
Oh,
she does.
man.
And then Allie, who is up in BC, and then Ashley, who is worked with me for a little bit right before I left Portland. And the 4 of us competed. And it was just really freaking. I loved competing with them. They all taught me something different. And it was just like I suck, honestly. Like the speed events, like trash, like embarrassing. The work climbing, I could struggle through it. I love AR. That's like by far my favorite event. And then throw line, won first place in each event twice. So that was cool.
Look at that.
Yeah. But
Yeah, you hear the clapping?
never made it to like the Masters round. But honestly, I didn't care. It was just so fun, and the
It's the
community.
community,
Yeah, and you like. I don't know, at least for me, I won like probably over $1,000 worth of gear, and I was getting, from first place wins or like even third place in
That's
events,
awesome.
and that just I was like, this is awesome. People clearly are invested in this, and I think it's really important.
It's addicting.
It's
So
it sucked.
totally
It took
addicting.
over my life.
Yeah.
My entire life.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
there's people that have watched him and watch you, and this is one of the biggest requests we have is, how do I get into this? How do I do this? How do I compete with this? So this is going to be one of the courses that we're going to offer when that time comes, getting kind of close from there. Are we doing that here soon? The in no,
What are we talking
North Carolina
For what?
the competition climbing
Oh, not in North. Huh?
Arborfest.
Oh yeah, no. Arborfest coming up next year, this 2023 in
Did
March.
we decide that?
Yeah, Mark Chisholm and I are going to do a talk about competition climbing and what it's done for our careers.
Oh, cool.
And how that relates back into maybe a production sense or certain types of climbs, or just kind of overall the benefits. Because I know there's kind of
tricks.
There's some tips and tricks in there too. But I think most of it is there's like a stigma around competition climbers and or climbing, and like, oh man, you're just a comp guy, you don't do production. And it's I guess it could be fair across the board, in some scenarios, but for me, it's pretty personal because I'm a production guy. I've worked, hands down with Mark Chisholm, and that guy can get down and do some work. So I know a lot of guys that compete that are just badass,
that's awesome.
production climbers too.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to show, hey, there are some benefits to going out there and competing. And
because you're nervous getting into your first competition. Like, what do I do? How do I do this?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? So if we have kind of an introduction course, and that's why I think it's going to be cool out in North Carolina, that you can watch two of the best in the industry do it and teach you and show you and answer those questions. I think it'll open some more people, because we need more people to get in these comps, and try it out. Because look what it kind of done for your career and get you just fired up and being around that. You want more.
Yeah, it's not about the win, right? It's camaraderie and the people.
I think that's easy to say. You won a lot.
Hey, but I was there for a different purpose. I've grown over the years. I took from the industry a lot because I did. I treated it like a job. I woke up every morning to train to win the world. So I just want to be a world champion. That's it. Yeah. One thing. That's all I want to do, and I want to. I just struggled every year for that one thing. But I was obsessed. It just consumed me. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be like that. It's there's a lot of good to it.
And you did it.
I think that's like I think that's good to mention, is that you can be a casual competitor, and I think that's like, I put myself in that category of, I don't ever aspire to like win the international tree climbing competition. Would I love to go and volunteer? Absolutely. Yeah. Was I having FOMO when I was seeing everyone in Sweden this year? I was like, that looks so cool. Why am I sitting here at my job? Like, how am I not in Sweden? I don't know, keeping score or timing for an event, you know, like.
Have you been and done that yet?
No, I really want to. It's like definitely on the bucket list.
Where's it going to be?
2023. Just do it.
Where's it going to be next year?
Where's it going to be?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm terrible. Yeah.
I'm
Oakland.
Yeah.
It's been in Oakland before.
Yeah.
My dad did it. I remember I was a kid.
But yeah, I just the whole community, and I think that, I don't know, it's awesome, and I like that people get into this, and your investment in what you do outside of work hours, to me, is like what you're saying. You get up early and you train. Yeah.
There's just not enough people that do that anymore. I feel, obviously I've been in the industry since I was a little kid, but seeing our industry grow, I see a lot less people, I guess, taking their own time either to educate themselves or, with everything out there, I think a lot of people get the most education right at home, right at their fingertips. So, be able to get out hands-on live at these events and support the industry. That's what it's about. That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to make it better, more education, the whole nine. So, yeah.
Yeah, the comps are the best. Everyone should go to one. I honestly, people would like see us working. I don't know if this would ever happen with you, but they'd be like, "This is so amazing!" Like we're putting their tree, and they'd like their kids would come out in the back porch, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys should come to the comp that's going to be happening in a couple of weeks. Like it's at the park. You just like show up whenever you want. It starts at like 8:00 in the morning. It goes to like evening, and I'd have my friends come to them, even when I wasn't competing, just to volunteer. I'm like, come drink beer in the park and literally watch people climb trees. Yeah. It's very fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you guys watching, if you guys are out in the Western chapter, California, Nevada, Hawaii, Arizona, I'm actually taking over the chair position for the competition this year, so I'm excited. And I'm going to host it up north by us here in Santa Rosa. Maybe not right here in Santa Rosa, but Northern California. So if anybody watching want to come out and hang, hit me up, give you more details, and freaking awesome.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Are you competing?
I haven't decided yet.
What?
I'm feeling really out of shape.
Come on, you got plenty of time.
You have a training center in your
know.
backyard.
Yes.
I
Let's do
You know,
this.
that's what we do
I know,
here.
I know.
Are you going to commit to everybody on the podcast here?
I'm going to make a decision in the next week.
Are you going to post it to everybody so we know?
No, I want to be a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll either see me competing or volunteering. I'm going to be at the
All right.
comp, either volunteering or competing.
Okay.
Either way, it's going to be really fun.
There you
But
go.
I'm trying
Okay.
to just decide what my next few months are going to look like
Yeah.
in terms of the things I'm interested in doing, the things I want to be doing, and
And what's that?
honestly, I just want to get back to tree stuff.
Yeah.
I feel COVID obviously impacted people in a lot of ways. I feel like I was really fortunate. I worked through all of it. If not anything, I worked more.
Mm-hmm.
But I miss all the tree industry events, and I realized that my career is as much as my hobby and my passions and my interests outside of work as it is something I show up to get paid to do. And I did my track course in April of 2021, and that was the first tree industry event I had been to in a year and a half. And I just remember being tree people, we're sitting around drinking beer, we're talking about rigging, and someone's telling us
You're
about this
this
cool
is
osprey
it.
nest they
I'm
had built, and I'm just ooh, this is awesome. I'm back. And I was
I'm back, bitches.
straight up, and I'm with these people that I think are tree world celebrities, honestly, and I'm we're all taking the same course together, and it was just really fun. People, once again, that I really respect and think do awesome work in the what we do, and I just miss the camaraderie. I want to be able to talk to people about tree biology. I want to be able to talk about rigging. I want to listen to people talk about what they're interested in.
Yeah.
People I like that community aspect. So I'm going to spend a lot more time intentionally this next year getting back into tree things. So I want to get involved with the Western chapter. I want to
Get involved with
the academy.
Yeah,
I'm here.
you leaving us out?
Oh,
What
no,
the
no,
hell?
no. I guess that's a one because I'm already here. I'm involved, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, you're already committed. I forgot.
Yeah. I haven't left yet, right? So the academy. And I want to spend more in my own time just thinking and reading about trees. Stuff that I feel I put aside, moving takes time and effort and energy and money. And I just bought a whole bunch of new gear, and I'm freaking pumped. I finally, I shipped it to Oregon because I didn't want to pay the sales tax on it. So
And then you're you know what I'm going to do? Then I'm going to drive up there, pick it up, and drive back.
Well, I was going out there for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So
$800 in fuel.
Yeah.
You saved $24.99 in shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
Actually it worked out really well. So I have kind of unpacked some of that, but I'm excited to break that out, and I want to do some more rec climbs. I want to spend more time doing tree things and getting involved with the tree community.
You guys hear that out there? Anybody looking to go do some rec climbs and hang out with Jessica and show her around out here? She's ready.
She's ready.
I have a big shot.
Yeah.
I feel that's kind of not everyone has one.
I don't anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I went for training, but
He just calls himself a big shot.
I gave up on him.
You gave up on him? Were you not good at it, or you can
How
hand throw that
how
far?
can you not be? You just pull a rubber band and shoot.
Wow.
You're not good
There's
at
people that are
Yeah.
bad at them,
Yeah.
really bad. And actually, that was one of the first things I learned. I was setting lines for people when I was part of my, getting into climbing thing. And I realized Callie Acorn said, Callie. Oh my God, I can't say it.
Acorn.
Yeah.
I think they're on here somewhere. I saw it.
Alcorn. Or she said that she had made herself indisposable by getting good at setting lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered hearing that, and I was like, okay, cool. So I would set lines for people, and I was like, this is actually really fun. I kind of like it. And then other days you're I fucking hate this. If I touch another throw line, I'm gonna cry. My fingers hurt from pulling the big shot. Every little wind is blowing it out of I keep on hitting the same spot. It's a quarter inch too far the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel that was a really good patience practice.
Are you a patient person?
Sometimes. I don't know, depending on
What ticks you off and pisses you off more than anything?
Shitty
out
tree
there?
work.
Shitty tree work.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
there's a
good
long
one.
list. People that are mean,
Yeah.
narcissistic, entitled people. I literally cannot stand that. It kills me. You say something wow, you little that's actually how you think the world
That
works.
came out of your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
Adults
you
that
not
throw
hear yourself?
tantrums. You're
Yeah.
you've clearly no one's corrected you in your like 40 years of life, and this is,
yeah.
you know, you like meet them, and you're like, wow.
Oh, she's getting pissed right now.
Yeah,
can
I
see
feel like
it.
I'm like getting more.
You
Yeah,
never got
like-
a spanking.
Yeah. Or no one told you no.
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
Must be hard.
I want to go back real quick. You were talking about, you know, setting lines, and I wanted to clarify this because I felt like I came off like that narcissistic, you know, really like, of course.
You're like, I don't use big shots.
I don't-
I'm
you
the big
just
shot.
made me. You just gave me. I feel terrible. No, but as just a quick story about this, you know, one reason I stopped using them is, you know, it takes away that skill set, you know, and that was one thing I was always kind of semi prideful that I was, you know, being able to throw at a high distance and hit targets, right? But as an example, I was on this project with Mark Chisholm for a while, and we were working on the storm project, and they're over 100-foot loblollies. My first branch was up 80 to 100 feet. And what happened was there was all these contracted teams from across the states out there on these projects. Well, everybody had big shots. We had multiple big shots, but you know, you're using them so much out there.
Yeah.
Everybody was breaking the bands, and
Yeah.
and you just didn't have extra on you, right? So what happened was the companies that didn't have the skills to throw, they couldn't get in the trees. Can't get in the trees. Hey, you guys are off this project.
Yeah.
New people in. So, you know, full people were getting kicked off the project.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a line 80 to 100 feet in the tree.
Yeah.
Guess who could? Our crew.
Yeah.
Right? So we're just like the badasses of the project.
Yeah.
You know, we're just
Yeah.
taking off
Yeah.
through the woods, you know. And after that, I was like, I'm never going to get soft. I'm going to keep my skill and make sure I throw by hand. And,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one reason Mark's the same way. And I was like, I'm going to be like Mark.
I totally agree with you. I think that is a really valuable skill. I think it's, it was one of those moments, you know, when you think about like everything you get to do on a job site every single day, there's like only so much energy I could allocate towards certain things. And I was like, well, I'm really good at like using a big shot.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use it. And then I'm going to spend time doing these other things that maybe I want to like, I'm more interested in developing those skills. But what you're saying is totally true, right?
Yeah.
You like, if you don't have this one tool, then you can't do your job at all.
Someone just said that. They just said, you know, I started using a cannon. Now I suck at throwing.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, I think with all tools, right, they have their purpose, and
Yeah.
I personally love the big shot. You literally we get paid to play with the giant slingshot. It's kind of cool.
It's super cool.
Believe me, you know, in certain scenarios, I would say recommend it, enforce it. You know, this is a must. You know, the problem is it's just like, hey, don't lose that skill. You know, just practice.
So how do you practice? Because this is something that, like, what's your advice if someone's like, I want to get better at throw line? How do you do that?
My recommendation is pick. This is what I used to do as a kid, and I started off really low, and I would pick targets, 3 targets, one low, obviously wide, and I would work around in a very low setting, some small crotches, some big unions, and I would just work on my release points and just accuracy at a very low level to get a feel, a touch, your swing, momentum, lengths. Your position, footing, balance, and once you can master these, you know, really small specific targets, then think about going up in the air. But most people don't. They get in there like, the most important thing is throwing this thing as high as I can, and then all the form goes out the window, and it's haywire, and they never really get good. They just become big launchers, right? But I took everything in competition to that. Like my mind goes there first. But yeah. My 2 cents.
Don't be a big launcher.
What's your throwing style? Are you like a one-hander or granny style, or?
I'm a one-hander.
One-hander. Do you do like a gnaw, or do you like feed it back through the loop, or what's?
I just do a finger pinch.
On with no doubled up line in there.
No. Yeah, I know I'm old school or whatever. I learned that way, never went back. I've tried every which way.
Yeah.
But I throw backwards. I'm a backwards thrower.
Oh, like up and over?
Not sideways. Full on backwards.
You stand backwards and you throw it behind you.
Yeah.
That's definitely old school.
I'm all messed up. I'm ambidextrous. Like half
school.
the stuff I do left-handed, half the stuff I'm right.
Oh my
Yeah.
I'm all
gosh.
wacky.
Do you always throw with your right hand?
Yeah. Unless I'm in the tree, I could, you know, if I gotta, you know, do a throw left-handed or whatever, it's not like a huge ordeal. You know?
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's taken me a while to figure out, like, sometimes I throw granny style. Sometimes I try one-handed with like a loop back through itself.
Yeah.
And that's something I've noticed that everyone that I like really admire as like a climber. They have their style, and I don't feel like I've found mine yet, which is probably why, I mean, I guess my style is the big shot, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I haven't found like something that's consistent enough. And honestly, it just kind of like, I'm sure if I spent an hour every day after work doing it, I would see huge improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think if you just kind of spent the time kind of analyzing yourself while you're doing it, you know, like I always use the back 40 as an example, you know, what I could do going out there with 2 hours with somebody setting up a camera, just talking about technique, recording them, showing them, going through the motions, showing them a couple different techniques, and then one of them will click, something will click, or you'll start to see some, you know, regular pattern within the way they move or whatever, and you're like, okay, that's your style. You could see that, and you make these adjustments to the person because everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
The length, their height, their torso, you know, their arms, you know, so something specific like that is just kind of recognizing that about yourself and how much time and effort you want to put into changing it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you know, they say practice makes perfect, and to me that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You could do, you know, you could practice the stupidest thing in the world over and over, and it can make you better.
Yeah.
Right? You should
Yeah.
be saying wrong thing over and
Yeah.
over. So finding out what works and then practicing that.
Totally. Yeah.
You didn't even say the line. I'm waiting for the line.
But yeah, it's not practice makes perfect. Is perfect practice gives you an opportunity to be better, because nobody's gonna be perfect.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Is that like a
Made me
Jared
cry.
original?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Actually,
That's good.
I stole that from Charlie Wagner out in Colorado, and I added to it. So I took half of it and whatever. Charlie, big shout out.
Charlie. Thanks,
He's
Charlie.
not on social media.
That's
anymore.
awesome.
This is the first time I heard it was Charlie. He's been saying, Jared's been
If
saying
you guys
this
don't know
is.
who Charlie Wagner is, go look him up on Spotify. He's a tree guy. He's actually was an international competitor as well. He's a freaking
cool.
awesome climber, multi-champion chapter Rocky Mountain. But he does music as well, and his music
good.
freaking.
In Colorado, when we opened up the Colorado location, he came out there and sang, and his mom came, and he didn't know his mom
cool.
was coming.
Yeah.
And they sing together.
What?
And they got on stage, and it was awesome.
That's so cool.
It was so cool. It was what it was. It was
That's
special.
really
It was
awesome.
special for that. So what's kind of the next step in your career here?
Next steps are, I feel like I'm still in this, I've been in the industry for like 5 years or so now. And I feel like when I think about where I want to be in 20 years, I want to look back and be like, oh yeah, I did this job for a few years, and these are the skills I learned from here. I did this job for a few years. This is what I learned from here. So had my stint in production tree work, honestly missed that. Moved over to the utility side a little bit. Just wanted to kind of see what that was. Very different experience in a lot of ways. And I think there's things that, you know, commercial residential work can learn from utility and vice versa. And so I'm giving the utility thing a shot for right now.
Good.
And then, you know, I think long term, I think I want to get into urban forestry. I want to kind of have my hand in the pot of everything. So like, I think as an urban forester, right, you're helping write policies that determine where trees are planted, how they're planted, who takes care of them, who's paying for the maintenance of all these trees. You also get like education. Most municipalities do like education components. And then
Unlimited pine cones.
so many pine cones.
Just
So many pine cones. Plus people are excited. They're like, oh, urban forestry.
as much
like,
as,
I wanna
much
get
as you
into
can.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you get in the pine cone picking program? What is it? What is it? Because
I've always wanted to do that.
you're coming
Oh,
back.
the cone
and-
collections?
Cone collections.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, Jessica, you collected 2 all day.
Yeah,
Your whole car's filled with them.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
they're all so unique.
I briefly
Take
thought
them to
about
my
that.
collection. They're like, you made no money today. You made like 25 cents.
Whenever I see them for sale at like the grocery store around Christmas time, and they're selling like a bag of like Ponderosa or
You can't help it.
Jeffrey Pine, you're like, it's like $6. You're
What?
like, that's an amazing
At the grocery
business.
store?
Yeah, they'll have them as like
You don't see,
decorative
like,
ones.
Yeah, they come in a little,
Oh.
like,
They'll have them like the
mesh
little mesh bags,
yeah.
yeah. And they're like $5 or $6 for a bag, and you're like, this is brilliant. Someone is clearly going in their yard, or probably honestly like the
then
public land.
You buy them and pick through them?
Do I buy them? I have my own collection.
Oh, I don't buy store bought,
Yeah.
okay?
I just, you know, pick them up from people's
She
yards
looked
or
at you
parks.
like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
I have my own collection. I don't
Yeah.
buy someone else's throwaway collection.
I have it refined, and I try not to have duplicates. So I think,
Oh
like
my
I said,
God.
I've got
How
like
many do you
40.
have?
Just like this.
40?
I think I have 40 species. I think.
I mean, do you get to the point where like, oh, that one's just too close.
Yeah, do
Yes.
you replace them?
I don't replace them, but what'll happen is like when I was doing production work, I'd put them in my pocket or I'd put them in my backpack, and they'd get smushed. And then I had like seeds everywhere. I took a redwood cone one time, put it in my cup holder. I was like, perfect. It was a super hot summer day. Like the next day it blew up. It had tons of
The
seeds.
Sempervirine or was it?
Coast redwood.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Sempervirine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your cone that's like on like I need this cone? This is like one of the hardest cones to get.
Oh.
And do you
Bristol-
have to pick
Bristol
your
cone.
own cone?
No, people can gift them to me. Yeah, so if
you-
anyone wants to send me cool cones, send them to me.
We're gonna get a whole dump. You can get a whole dump truck.
They're like, oh gosh, thank God. They're like, I'm gonna give her the pine wood too.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of a job, you chip all the brush and
Yeah.
just cones. You're just raking up.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna
Don't
get.
mail
Yeah.
them here,
Yeah.
guys. Don't
Yeah.
send them
Yeah,
here.
mail them to
please.
the academy. Just go to Santa Rosa, the academy. They'll know where to deliver them. You guys are actually gonna start selling them at the grocery store. So $5 a bag.
I'm
You
like,
know.
shit, we got to get rid of them one way.
So what's the species I really want? Honestly, I really want monkey puzzle.
You
Really?
got a couple
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah,
I-
we got one right down the street.
So whenever I'd find them in Portland, they were wet and soggy. I've never had a dry cone. So yeah, I mean, whenever I'd find them, they're like on the ground.
Oh, got it.
So it was like just wrong time of year, and like I'm kind of selective. I like want a nice like dry like looks
So what
like.
do you look for when you're picking your cones?
I want it to be like when you like open up a tree ID book and someone's beautifully hand drawn it. I want it to look like that.
Okay.
Sometimes I keep ones that are like ugly, I guess, but like if they have a little attitude to them, or sentimental ones like the
You're
boss.
like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. You're so ugly. You're cute.
You got to change your Instagram name to like the Cone Collector or something
Oh.
like that.
Cone crazy.
Yeah,
Cone
that would actually be
crazy.
good. Have you guys listened to Completely Arbitrary?
No,
It's a podcast about trees.
I don't even listen to this.
That is true. That is a true story right there.
I mean, I don't know if I'll listen to this episode either. Just kidding, I probably will. But send it to my family.
How did I sound?
I don't even think we're gonna post this.
Oh dang! Wait, so we're just hanging out drinking beer?
That's it. We're not even
Okay.
filming this right
Oh,
now.
Bob's
okay.
like, sorry, I forgot to hit record.
Yeah, I was like, whoops.
Do it again. But yeah, I look for ones that like are models of the species.
Okay.
Because anyway, Completely Arbitrary. Casey has a phenomenal cone collection he talks about. I've never seen it in real life, but
do you guys like share cones, like trade cones? Like there's a cone trading, like I'll trade you this one for this one.
Oh, does he get something to start?
I don't. I bet there is a cone trade. I have not gone into that.
Yeah.
But like everyone in this industry is really friendly, so I'm sure if I hit someone up,
Do you decorate your cones?
I don't.
Okay.
They're
All right.
natural.
Good. I was gonna be that. Oh, you almost could have ruined our whole
Yeah.
relationship. If you're like,
Natural
I paint them,
cones.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I put sparkles.
Well,
and
what about googly eyes? That'd be kind of funny on a few of them. Imagine like a huge sugar cone pine.
Next
sugar
time you
pine.
come, you got to bring a couple of your cones.
Okay, I honestly did think about bringing him, but
What?
I did, but I was like, I'll just tell him about it.
What were you gonna do? Were you gonna pull them out of your bag and say,
Show and
like,
tell. I don't
like,
know.
hey,
Yeah.
you guys, let me show you my cones.
Yeah, why not? This is why the transition is so cool. Someone like,
I don't know. No one's ever showed me their cones. I would have been like, I would have been like, I don't know. This is okay. This is.
I guess I'll
this is
say
cool.
yes.
Let's see it.
I didn't know what the vibe was, like
The funny thing is now everywhere I go, I'm like, I wonder if that's a cone Jessica would pick up right now.
start collecting them for
I'm
me.
going to start collecting them.
okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I have pulled over on the side of the road and went and
I
searched
knew
searched
it.
before
You
for
are
coulter pines.
Yeah.
You are a cone collector.
I did a few times, but when people come out to California, they're not from around here,
Yeah.
and I'm in the area and I see one, I'm like, you guys gotta check this out. So I'll pull
Yeah.
over and pick one up. I'm like, check
Yeah.
this thing out,
Yeah.
and like, so kill somebody that falls out of a tree.
Literally, we'll kill
Yeah.
someone. Yeah.
But
Do you ever find one when you look on the
oh
side?
yeah,
Yeah. They're pretty.
it's more north, but not around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very few.
I will confess, I almost working in people's yards was an amazing experience. You get to see like people care a lot, right? Like they invest a lot of money and time and effort into their landscaping, and like I've worked with people that have like rare plant collections and conveniently placed under their huge trees, and you just get to see like a unique perspective of someone's life that a lot of people don't. And I did have an intrusive thought one time about stealing a cone from someone's house, and it was the sugar.
You're one of those tree climbers.
Yeah,
Huh?
I didn't take it. I thought about it. It was a sugar pine cone, and I wanted like a big one. Like I wanted like the size of my arm, and I didn't have one because they don't really. There's some in Portland, but they're not very big. And so it was in their backyard. It was kind of tucked into a corner. I was like, I bet they forgot it's here, right?
Like they hid it back there or something?
No, it was clearly like a decoration that trees had grown
gotcha.
around. It was like nicely. I mean, it would have been a total asshole move to take it. It was like in a little basket. They had like 2 or 3 of them. They clearly someone gave them to them, or they collected them from a trip or whatever. And I was like looking at them, and I was like, I really want that fucking cone. I kept walking by.
I thought it was a cone on the ground. No, this was someone bought it, put it in a basket.
It was like
decorated.
decorative, yeah. So it would have been like total bullshit.
But they would have bought it somewhere. It wasn't all natural, like just finding it.
They
I mean,
probably
is that
went,
the same for you to take? And then you would have had it sitting up there on your shelf with all your other natural cones that you found in the wild.
Yeah.
And that's my stolen cone that someone bought from the store.
They were really nice people, so I didn't do it. I don't know if they bought it. They could have gone on a trip, which is why I didn't take it.
Oh, sentimental value.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they probably went on vacation and found it.
That was my mother's and my parents' cones.
Yeah, yeah.
From the house
They
that we
yeah,
sold.
yeah. And it was a big cone. It was freaking huge, and I was like, damn. And I kept
How
walking
much you want
by
for the
it.
cone?
Yeah, I kept walking by it. I was like, they don't even know. I was convincing myself they didn't
Did
know
you
it was
touch
still
it?
there. I did.
Did you touch it? Did you pick it up? Hoping they'd come out and be like, oh, do you like my cones?
Oh, God.
Do you want it? I'll give it to you.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. No, I didn't get it. I wasn't trying to do it that much, but I like picked it up and I was like, this is amazing.
Like SMR, she's like,
Yeah.
whoa, cone.
Yeah.
The sap all over the face.
I'm actually really allergic to pine trees, so I definitely did not rub it on me.
Oh
but
my gosh.
but that was like one of the my ethics were challenged in that moment.
Yeah.
I did the right thing. I left it, but seriously consider taking it.
That's fantastic.
Okay, this has been a first on the podcast. This is yeah. This is a good one.
Stealing
This is
cones.
good.
I didn't steal it, but thought about
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna get you some cones. I'm collecting cones for you now.
Hell yeah.
I'm collecting.
I'm so
cones.
excited.
I gotta find some. You gotta give me a list of what you're looking for, and I'll keep
Okay.
I'll keep a lookout.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I've got a few ideas. I
Okay.
definitely I honestly I want a Bristol cone pine. Someone gave me a cone, but I feel like the ethics of where you collect them from is like very I don't know what that's going to look at. Obviously respect leaving things in nature. I don't side note, please don't go steal cones from places you shouldn't be stealing it from, whether it's private property or
especially if it's in a basket.
Yeah, especially if
with
it's in a
ribbon on
basket. Yeah, but I think we do need to be like I do
Like
try to
state
be
parks.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's an abundance of them, I feel good. But there's like one on the ground, I'm like, this could be the next tree. Probably not, but like.
Well, if they're already dried out and you just want the shell of it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've taken a whole bunch of, the giant sequoia.
Yeah,
Just because they look cool and I don't know.
they produce millions of them. It's fine. But I think things like the Bristol cone pines, I'd be very conscientious of where I was collecting them from. I think, or I wouldn't. I don't really like to pick them off trees either. I usually like to get them on the ground. Except for I have taken them off the tree, like once.
I mean, it's way harder. Why would you go up there when you just get them off the ground?
It was like face height. It was like right by a sidewalk. And I was like, ooh, red pine. I don't actually have that yet.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't actually that easy. I thought it was just going to be like, pluck it off. And I'm like,
This was your tree, or this was
The
in,
ladies outside the mirror,
it
like,
was in
honey,
someone's front yard?
it was at a school.
You stole it from a school?
I mean, we own the school. It's public property,
Oh,
right?
my
My taxes pay for the
goodness.
school.
That's
Oh
my
God.
tree,
Yeah.
my pine cone.
You just went on this whole speech of don't steal it from people.
It's mine.
And then you stole it from a school, like a preschool.
See, the person who mows the lawn was probably appreciative, honestly. They're like, one less cone for them to run over.
I like how you justified this in
Yeah.
the past before because that came out way too quick.
Yeah.
It's mine. It's my tax-paying dollars
Yeah.
that goes towards that cone.
I mean, she just
by
went in on
water.
this whole thing like, guys, listen, it's not right. I don't believe it. It's not ethical to steal cones from people's yards. You're like, anyways, I was walking on the sidewalk one time and I stole this cone from a preschool.
Oh gosh.
So
Yeah.
what are some things in our industry, being in our industry for 5 years, being on competition climbing and traveling around, working in the utility sector, private, cone collector,
Yeah.
where do you see our industry going, and what ways can we improve our industry?
So first part, where do I see it going? Like, honestly, no pun intended, up. I think there's a lot of people that care.
And upward.
Oh yeah, just like that, up.
Upward training.
I think there's a lot of people that care in this industry, and I think you see that with how much time people invest of their personal time, whether it's you guys making a podcast or like climbing arborists making instructional videos, or people that is all right unpaid time for these people and these professionals that want to share this information.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a lot of people that care and want to pass on that information, and I think that's good. It's like a bummer that your dad, when he was early, like comp climbing, right, it was like very competitive and quiet. And I think probably the transition more to like collaboration is probably a benefit in our industry in ways that we can't quantify. But I think that like how we share information now is like only improving how our industry is going to continue to grow. I also think like the amount of research that's in the tree world. I personally, my background, like college degree was in biology, and I think there's a lot of things that people have done tree-wise, but we don't really know why we do it. We like kind of make assumptions. We like reference a few people, but I think there's like more money and more resources going into research that directly impact us as practitioners, right?
Yeah.
Whether I'm pruning, whether I'm consulting and like advising someone on how to maintain their trees, we now have research, more research than we've ever had in these fields. So, I think. Sorry. I was just getting so excited. I was like thinking about. I literally just thought of 3 different research projects that are happening. I was like, oh, this is so fucking cool.
What are the ones? What's happening?
I mean, honestly, like I'm a huge fan of Meg Lauman's work. I think she's amazing, and I like that she does a lot of. It's as much about the tree community as much about the people community around it. So, for example, she has a project in Ethiopia that they only have 5% of the remaining forest in Ethiopia, and majority of those forests are around the Coptic churches. And for the Coptic churches, like trees and water are like a big part. So like she's been working with the priests to like build retaining walls to keep like grazing animals out from like basically killing off the rest of the forest that exists. And you're like, so this is the point, like science and religion are coming together to like solve an ecological problem. And like I think we need to look at those interdisciplinary relationships of it's not just the arborist cutting the tree, it's also the urban forester, like how do we build a plan of like what kind of trees we should have in the city and how we allocate our resources to make sure everyone has trees. There's a cool heat study in Portland a couple years ago of like Portland, I think it's like 21% canopy coverage for the whole city, which is like less. I've been told it's like less than LA and New York City. And this is a city that people like strongly identify with the canopy, but it's very inequitably spread. Historically, rich white neighborhoods have like really big old mature trees. Historically, low income communities of color in Portland have like no trees. And you literally drive through the city and you're like, wow, this is like very obvious. I haven't seen a tree in a few minutes, and the few I have are really struggling. So like I'm interested in like that social inequity, and I think people are doing the research to support it so we can write good policy to advise practitioners of what to do. So like all these stakeholders are coming together to create solutions. So I think like the industry is improving. I think there's probably like if you looked at who did tree work 50 years ago, it's probably very different than now, right? It's not.
Do you think it's advancing a lot faster than it did in the past? Like, more people are getting involved in our industry, more innovations, more openness?
I feel like that's like a Jared question. I feel like I'm new to the industry, but
yeah, that's 100%. I mean, just like anything in this, I mean, from our cars to, our gear that we use, we've advanced tremendously.
I mean, going to the TCI trade shows every year, it's like, that's new, that's new, that's new.
Yeah, well, it used to be only a few major, either manufacturers or, small group or percentage in the industry making that push. Now, because obviously social media and the web, things obviously moving faster. This is just like anything else in our world, right? But now it became almost an internal competition between either manufacturers and growth and, status. And, it's just everybody's booming and can't wait to beat the next person. And, and it's not beat them as in like, oh, I'm going to destroy them. It's just like, who can do the coolest shit the fastest and bring it out there. And, and because it's fun and our industry is fun and the people are fun. and they have that same kind of mentality of growth and just, they love each other. It's you look at us versus carpenters, us versus, iron workers and mechanics. You don't see what we have here in our industry. It's just so different.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
It's unique, and that's part of the reason I've stayed in this industry is I'm just very attracted to the community and the type of people that like invest their time. So I think our industry is only getting better. I think unpopular opinion, I think this industry is moving towards more standardization, and I think that's really good in a lot of ways. I think people have been very lucky that they haven't died, and I've had moments that I'm like, wow, I feel really lucky that I could think back and like either I didn't know that what I was doing was really unsafe, or I was rushing, this self-inflicted like production pressure stuff, and I think about those moments. I don't feel proud about them, but I think about like the things I learned. I'm like, okay, well, how would I have done this differently? And I think that, with standards, people are safer, right? And like no one wants to talk about it. This industry,
why they're created.
Yeah. And this industry is very creative. I love, you talk to someone and they're like, everyone's got a different opinion on how to do the job, and they're like different, there's probably some similar themes, but everyone's going to climb the tree a little differently. Everyone's going to have their first workstation a little bit different than the next person. And I like that. And I think this industry, the people are very creative and innovative, that we can still have standards that increases safety, but people can also be creative.
Right.
So,
and I just had this talk today twice, and having these standards were created because there were incidents, right? The incidents in our industry is, that's what, our ANSI and OSHA standards are there to protect us. Now, can we, obviously elevating that standard and continue to make it better is great, but there's a certain point where you can't standardize absolutely everything, right? And this is always a, I don't want to say a contest between the two, but you can look at it like, man, let's put a standard on everything, and you have to do this, and that takes away some of the creativity. Therefore, you don't have that. And there's the other side of, man, let's keep that gray area. That gray area of like, you can interpret this way and have a little bit more creativity and dance the border of whatever the standard is over here. So, I hear that a lot about a lot of arguments back and forth. And the reason why there's no decision is because I don't think you can. I think it's just got to be what it is. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I live in the gray area.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to pick a side. I'm not black and white when it comes to a lot of the stuff. And I teach black and white. I teach this side, but there's times, and you could ask any tree guy that's out there in this world, and they've been put in, they've done this long enough. You've been put in a position where you have to be outside of that box, and you have to think outside of that standard, and it's your life on the line. So it's just what it is,
It is what it is.
And I think the standards, having those, when you get to those moments where you're like, I'm making an informed decision of like being outside the standard because this is the only way to complete this. Without the standards, people are just like doing it and not realizing why, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's easy to justify because, if you don't know what you don't know,
Right.
And I think the standards are important to help establish of like, okay, if you want to climb tree, your rope needs to be rated to this minimum, like to this, like you have to minimum this.
There's negligence and there's not arrogance. It's being negligent is one thing, but just not knowing is
I can't think of the word.
Ignorant.
Ignorance. Yeah. I was like trying to think of it too. I was like, what the?
I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I just came in with this big thing and I fucked it up. I'm like, yeah. But yeah,
Totally.
it's true.
Yeah.
And you feel bad. You feel bad for the people. Like, they only know what they know.
Yeah.
And that's why we started, the school and we do what we do because, I feel for the people in this industry, especially the young, kids coming in and getting thrown out against what they're getting thrown out against. Nobody's really giving them that love and attention to get where they need to be to do this work, and just makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
So
This is good talks. This is good stuff. I'm like sitting over here listening to you guys. I'm like, I like it.
Yeah. No, and everything you're saying, I totally agree. I think, everything's got its place, and I think for me, when it comes down, like when I hear about a fatality in this industry, I like you read the report and you're like, wow, like someone, most of them, you're like, someone never trained them how to do this. And you're like, that's fucked. Like, and I take that shit really personally, honestly. I, definitely identify with being an arborist. I think there are people that do tree work that, it's a cowboy with a chainsaw, and like that's cool. I don't want to work with those people. I don't really, people send me fail videos, and I'm like, I used to not watch them honestly when I first started getting into tree work because it scared me.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I started watching them, and you like, as soon as you like the first half a second of the video, you're like, oh, I know exactly what's gonna happen, right? And then you're like looking, and you're like, oh my, like of course they thought that's what you should be doing, but like, duh, like that's. If they knew what they needed to do, they wouldn't have done this. But I think like when there's a fatality or a serious injury, you're like, that to me is like, we need more standardization. Tree work is like one of the coolest, sexiest jobs in the world. Love telling people, like, literally, I'm like, yeah, climbing trees is sexy. Like
what's the reaction when you tell them that?
Two things. One, they're like, oh, well, if I say I'm an arborist, you can tell they're like, what is an arborist? And they pause.
Like I've heard that before.
They're like, arborist, what is that? I'm like, oh, like a tree doctor. And they're like, that's really cool. And then they usually pause, and then someone will follow up with a story about a tree at their house or at their school.
When they climbed when they were a kid.
They're like, oh, the tree fell on my house when I was a kid. And we're like, I don't even care what the story is. It could be a happy memory. It could be a really sad one. But most people have a story about a tree.
Isn't it? I that is very unique because like growing up, I remember the house I grew up in. I don't remember really the car my mom had or the little things, but I remember the trees. Like I grew up with the trees, and I grew up like with the house I grew up in. I know where my tree was. I know which one I climbed, and most people in their life know that. Like they have that tree. Do you remember a tree when you were a kid that you climbed or were around?
Yeah, we had a ton of cottonwoods in our front yard, and my parents totally hired this cowboy to come and cut them down. And I actually have two like very distinct memories. And I mean, at one point they had a line redirected to our willow, and they freaking allowed me and my mom, and I think it was my little brother, to stand. Okay, so basically here's the tree. Here was the willow they were redirected off of. Tree was they were falling, I think, this way or this way. We were basically like in the triangle. The redirected line snapped. We had this huge old stump in our yard that was very decayed. It hit that and like flung it towards me and we were standing literally right here. I mean, everything was fucking dumb. And we have a porch, so we could have been very well like safe out of the way. Like nothing would have happened.
And they were like, no, come down here, stand right here.
We were standing in the yard. The rope was probably 15 feet away from us before it was tensioned.
Wow.
It fell. It hit the stump. The stump flew towards us. I remember I was holding my hairbrush. I don't know why. I'm like 5. Brushing my hair in the yard.
Back, trees, back. All right.
Yeah. I'm like singing to the trees as they're cutting them down. And I threw the hairbrush.
5 when Brack was out like
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably. When did they come out?
How old are you?
28. So when was their first? 1997?
23?
You're old,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. So I threw the hairbrush, and I was really sad about the hairbrush. I fucking lost it in the bushes, whatever.
You never found it?
Never found it. It was like,
how big of bushes did you
they
have?
were blackberries.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it was like through the hairbrush, and I just think about once I started doing tree work, I was like, what was anyone thinking? I can't believe my mom thought that was okay. I can't believe the cowboy cutting the trees down thought I was okay. He took out a primary at one point. It was like a minute before the school bus showed up. No one like had permits back then, whatever, all that stuff. And so anyway, he moved it out of the road. The school bus went through. Everything was fine. But
he moved the primary out of the road?
I don't know about that, but he moved the tree out of the road.
Okay.
I mean, the primary was clearly under it, but I don't know how he didn't die. I mean, it was like one of those things you're like,
I don't know how anybody didn't die.
Yeah. And that was not the same tree.
The worst part about this whole thing is you lost your hairbrush.
Lost my hairbrush.
That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, it's fucked up. You should have bought me a new one, honestly.
What the hell? Asshole.
I still think about the hairbrush.
I mean, if you would, you hunt down them, but you might have found a pine cone back there.
That's a good point. And we actually have some really nice Western red cedars right there.
Here we go.
But wait, do you know what the kind of tree was that you grew up with?
Yeah. No. Well, it was a black oak, one of them that I
Nice.
climbed, and then the other ones I climbed, we call them cigar trees, and I don't even know what type of tree it is. What is it? Long. They were long seeds, about this long.
Catalpa?
I don't know.
In Ohio?
Long seeds like this, and when they would dry out, you'd open it up, and it was like all these seeds inside, and we called them cigar trees.
Was it like a green bean?
But it was about this big.
Did it have really big leaves?
Big leaves.
It's probably like a catalpa. That's what I'm thinking.
But did they have them out there in Ohio?
Midwest people,
Isn't it
probably.
wouldn't
I
it be
mean,
too
I don't
cold.
know.
Those things grow out there. In the...
They were huge. We had like 7 of them in the backyard.
how big were the leaves?
I mean, a mimosa will get
Yeah, but they're like they're like a bean, right? I feel like a cigar to me suggests like a long, skinny
Yeah.
It was the cigar tree. Yeah.
catalpa.
Yep. That's it. Right there it is.
Nice.
Yeah. Freaking big as hell. And I'd whip them across the yard when they were green. They were
Oh,
like boomerangs.
nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd climb that one, and I had a little black oak that I would climb out there all the time. Not black oak, I'm sorry, black walnut that we
cool.
would climb all the time out there, and just climb up there, and I would sit in there and just hang out, and then I would play hide and seek with my dog. But that was my tree, and for the next, I didn't climb like 15 years of my life as a kid and got to a teenager. I'm still climbing trees, but I just remember always going out there and climbing those trees, and that was a tree. And then I came home from college, and my dad cut the thing down. I just remember like, Dad, that was my tree.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I was emotionally attached to that tree, but
Of course you are. You have like so many memories associated with it. And
I know.
Yeah, I had like 100. It was like 100 trees. They were all in a row. Greenhouse. That was weird. I don't know. They watered them every day.
Who, your parents?
Yeah.
Hmm.
They were like, you don't get it.
they were like 5 feet tall, kind of smelled a little
They
skunky.
harvest them once
I don't
a
know.
year.
They always wore gloves when they harvested them.
yeah, it was weird.
These people would come around with dreadlocks like once a year and help us out.
Man,
Yeah,
they'd
for a
harvest
couple
them
of
at
weeks.
night. And,
Everyone, they were always
and-
playing Bob Marley.
He's like, I don't know.
Are they
Honestly, it
watering
took me a second. I was like, fucking arborvitae, like gross.
And they water them every year. I'm like, okay. So, what would be some what's some wisdom, some kind of? It doesn't have to be about the tree care industry, but what can you share for the people that are listening here that can help them out today in life, in whatever it may be in the industry that you can share with them?
Okay, life advice / I think 'cause my life is so
whatever.
involved with trees. People are really willing to help. You just need to let them know what you're interested in. So, and it doesn't have to be like a sales, like, I feel like when we talk about networking, it feels like this disingenuous experience. But I think you can tell people, you're like, oh yeah, I was like reading this thing and now I'm kind of interested. I think it's like important to tell people you're interested in. And a lot of where I've gotten is because I've told someone and then like a year later they reached out and they're like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to help me? Or I have this question about something we had talked about a couple of years ago. So sharing what you're interested in, I think is good. I think also other like life advice. I'm getting really comfortable with not being good at things. So like I'm trying to learn how to surf and I fucking suck at it. But I just like love getting beat up by the ocean. You get out there, you're like,
gosh,
this is
that sounds
scary.
terrible.
Like, I don't know, it's kind of cold. I've got like a nice wetsuit. You're like, I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. But as soon as I like catch a little wave, I'm like, woo, this is fun. So like not being like, and I realized that with trees, like when I started to learn how to climb, like I was really, really bad. And I think I went from really, really bad to like just bad. And so like, I'm like, okay, then I'm not going to be like winning the international tree climbing competition. And I'm very comfortable with that, but I can still work in this industry. I have a lot to contribute.
You're winning aerial rescue. And you're winning throw ball.
Yeah. So like, there's like these little moments that I feel like I'm reaching the goals I want to, but I don't have to be perfect at everything. And I think I'm not a perfectionist. I'm totally like a generalist, and I like to kind of dabble in lots of things at a time. So the tree world's been perfect for that. But yeah, I don't know. Just I think people get too caught up of like if they're not perfect, they can't try something, and that's really unfortunate. I think there's a lot of cool things that would happen if people kind of sucked at a lot of things, right?
That's cool.
You know who you're talking to, right? It's
Perfectionist. Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
She's looking at me, calling me out.
It's okay to suck at things.
Yeah, my therapist. I've been
He
working
sucks
through
at
this
some
with my
things.
therapist.
He sucks at some things, like I don't know, getting on social media and
That's true.
or
I suck
picking up my phone call.
Hey, but you
I
did
suck
get
at
on-
podcasts. I suck at social media. Yeah.
But you got on the live tonight, right?
He
So
did.
that
He
worked?
did.
Did well.
It was good.
Baby
So,
steps.
Hey man, good job. I'm proud of you.
I have no desire to be good at this shit, so I'm just, I'm here for the support.
You're okay sucking at it. So
He's a
yeah.
liar. He's a liar. He is. He's getting good at it. He wants to do it. We just had a meeting last weekend. He's like, okay, I think we can do 17 shows a week. He went from nothing to
Yeah.
like 18 shows
He's
a week.
gonna be like
now.
Mr. Podcast in
Yeah.
like a year. He's
He
gonna have
scheduled this podcast. This is his first one he ever scheduled.
Oh,
just
hell
FYI.
Just
yeah.
for you.
Dang, I'm
So
honored.
I'm like, we got a podcast Thursday. I'm like,
Guess we have a podcast.
I'm like, okay, Jessica with an H.
Yeah.
Jessica with an H. Jessica.
Dude, you guys are nailing it.
I messed up. I
Like-
messed up.
I'm like, well, that's how she spells her name. That's how she spells her name.
No, it's just a very plain, Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica.
So the reason behind this is your email is Jessica H, which is
Yeah.
because your
There we
last name.
Yeah.
Hey, you got
And
it
so
wrong.
I just
you don't have to
assumed-
justify it.
I assume that her name was Jessica, spelled with an H. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is rare, Jessica. Right? I'm like, cool. So I start
have to
texting
say
her,
it
hey,
that way.
Jessica, are you still good for the podcast? She's like,
She's like-
hey, by the way,
Did you tell him on text or when you
No,
got
I
here?
told him when I got here.
You just went with it? He's like,
Yeah.
idiot.
Well, I thought it was like an error on like the calendar invite, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe he just like forgot. And then he texted me. I was like, okay.
You're
He-
saved
he
in my
clearly-
phone.
he
You're saved in
clearly-
my phone
found
with an
it
H.
just-
He
okay, that's
clearly
like,
doesn't
you
know
should
my
keep
name.
it because that's really funny.
Oh, man.
The only one in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just yeah, that's good.
We got a question early. Oh, this is
We
good.
got questions. We're gonna jump on and we're
Yeah.
gonna have some questions
Oh,
here
okay.
in a little bit. But man, you got an awesome story. You've got some passion, especially about cones. But you have some passion that I haven't heard this much passion in a long time, and that fires me up and that gets me excited. To be able to partner with you and team up on some different things and some cool ideas because
Collecting cones for me?
I don't know. You got me excited about cones. I didn't know it was a freaking thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm collecting cones now, I guess.
Yeah.
I
It's really addicting.
got a little bonsai tree I'm growing. So
Oh,
when I get a little
nice.
cone from that, I'll
What
give
is
it to
it?
you. What is it? I don't even know what it is. So they got it for my birthday, and then I bought this kit, and it has like 4 trees in it. My wife bought it for me, and I got them all ready, and I put the seeds in there, and I'm driving home from I was in Tahoe, and I was driving home so excited, and I get back, and these 4 pots tipped over, and they were all mixed up, and I just remember like punching the door, and I was like, son of a bitch, because I was so excited about growing these little
Yeah,
bonsais, and I'm like, I was so mad. I just put whatever was in the dirt. I just put them in there, and all of a sudden, a couple seeds started popping up. And I don't know what's driving me crazy isn't the fact that I thought they might not grow. It was the fact that my OCD kicked in because they have these little cool plaques that go with each one to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
And I have no freaking idea what I'm growing now. I know it's one of the 4, but I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's this.
Wow, if only there's an entire world of tree experts that
yeah.
can help identify your tree. You should post them on Insta.
Yeah.
I've got people to help you identify
But then
them.
they're like,
They're
dude,
like
you've been in the
this
industry.
Oh.
Then they're like, dude,
Some
you've
people
been in
are
the
that good.
industry for 12 years. You don't know what the hell that tree is. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Uh,
they're
that-
there.
That
I'm
makes
growing
me
them.
happy. If I was there, I would literally be on my back,
Don't
dying
it?
laughing
Yeah.
because watching this guy get flustered is the best thing in the world.
Well, because I know I put them upright, and then my wife was shoving shit in the back, and I'm like, I had to blame it on someone. I'm like, you freaking tipped over. It's your birthday gift to me. But anyway, she bought me another one, so I have it in my garage that I'm going to put together. But no, you do. You have a lot of passion in this industry, and I think everybody can hear it on the podcast. You have so much more to offer, this industry in so many different areas that you haven't even figured out yet. So, working with somebody like you, we're going to open up some cool doors. We're going to do some cool things here and keep being able to share your knowledge and the things you're gathering to the industry for that. So
I'm excited.
I got a ton of ideas in my head that are going. I'm like, all of a sudden we're going to be sitting here. I'm like, who's good at this? Jessica.
You got the ASMR. Jessica.
We should call Jessica. We've already signed you up to like 30 different things to
Yeah,
help us,
yeah.
but we appreciate it in advance
Yeah,
for
of
that.
course.
So,
I'm excited.
now how does everybody look you up? What's your Instagram, Facebook, all that they can find you?
Instagram, basically. Or you
Okay.
can find me in the PNW Arborist Facebook group.
What's
but,
the Instagram?
I feel like I need a tree name. Honestly, I'm
It's
like,
just Jessica.
Jessica.
well, it's Jessica. Well, JESSIC, the number 4 N.
Yeah, let's
So
get to like
Jessica.
Jessica.
They spelled my name wrong in my high school graduation program. They wrote Jessica, and so it was like a joke for a long time,
And
And
that's it.
yeah, it's been my like
You're
Instagram
something
handle
cone
since like.
collector. You
cone
have the
collector.
largest cone collection in the world. So
Oh my! I wish honestly. There's some people with like amazing collections. I'm like, I'm like the
You're getting
amateur
there. You're
collector.
getting
There you
You're
go.
getting there.
Crazy cone collector. That's KKK, and then
Oh, that's exactly what you
I
want.
don't know if I really want
Oh my
that
gosh.
as my
Oh
business,
my
as my
gosh.
personal or professional brand.
Oh my gosh! But find her on Instagram, guys. She may not accept you because she barely accepted us for this show. So we appreciate you being on the show. Appreciate you being here today and hanging out with us. You know, we're going to have you back on the show, of course. We're going to have you in the academy. Look for her on our new ATO, Academy Trained Online, that's going to be hitting the App Store soon. She's going to have a bunch of cool courses, big shot courses, and teaching people some cool stuff. How to find the proper perfect cone videos are going to be in there, and a bunch of other stuff that you're going to have, especially with the women's training that we're going to have here at the academy. So
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
awesome. I appreciate you. And everybody that's listening out there, share the show, you know, pay the fee. If you liked it, if you got something out of it, share it. You know, this
Tag
is
a
how
friend.
what?
I said tag a friend and
Yeah, tag.
and the gear. Before, sorry, I don't want to not close you out, but
Yeah.
no, I just wanted to bring up before we left. Anybody, you know, we're looking for used damaged gear. Anybody out there want to send in anything damaged? We'll send you a little gift package. But we're building a PPE course and gear inspection course, and we need as much damaged gear as possible. So, sorry to interrupt.
Yep. No, that's it. Send it to the academy, guys.
Everyone's got it sitting in their garage.
All
Get
of
rid of it. It's
Give
garbage.
It all. Not only will we pay for postage, we'll send you some cool stuff if you send it to us. We need this. We need this for new courses that are coming up here really soon. That's going to be for the industry to make it better. So please send it in to us for that. So everybody, man, we appreciate you. We appreciate everything you guys do out there in the industry. Continue to elevate the standard of our industry through safety, through training, and through innovation. We appreciate everybody.
Peace.
Peace. All right. See you guys. Bye.